What is up, everybody? Happy Sunday. How's it going, Greg? Oh, you're still muted.
It's going good, man. Grateful to be here. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Welcome, everyone that's joining in from the Entheogenic Esquire side. Welcome, everyone that's here from the Black Line Brief side. Let's get into it tonight. We're going to have a good night. We got a good show tonight. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get straight into it. I really love your approach and your take. You bring a whole different side, much like Barron's, right? You have experience as a lawyer. You understand the legal system way better than the average individual. Tyler Robinson had a recent court appearance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was
last Friday?
Yeah. What was your take on what happened?
Not surprised. So, obviously the main thing that they focused on was a motion and some responses or replies to that motion from the defense that they were trying to keep private. Do you want me to just go ahead and give the deal like what it was?
Yeah. Yeah. So they were trying to keep certain documents private?
Yeah. Well, it was basically an evidentiary dispute. So what happened, this is my reading of it based upon what I listened. I actually listened to it yesterday, out of full disclosure. Basically the state through the ATF FBI came to the defense and said, per the law, they said, look, we have to put you on notice that there's this bullet fragment that, is allegedly found in the autopsy and it was inconclusive. We want to conduct further testing on it that's going to potentially be destructive. So that's why they had to give them notice, right? Because it might be destroyed. Well, the defense wanted to oppose that, obviously. And that was the correct thing to do. But instead of just filing the motion, bringing it to the court, they filed it and then filed it as private. And then now we have all this sequence of motions and responses and replies. And at the end of the day, Friday, judge said, not going to be private. So we didn't know about this autopsy bullet fragment piece, inconclusiveness until Friday, right? When judge ordered that the motion be, disclosed to the world.
And all the correspondence that went back and forth. It was all private until Friday.
That's right. So the motions, the responses, the replies, all that, and then it was all uncovered. And so that's kind of, where we're at now.
The bullet, right?
Yeah.
They didn't want testing on it because if it destroys it, it totally doesn't allow them to use it in a future test or to prove that it's not a 30-06 or what? What is the point?
Yeah, that's right. So if it were to destroy the bullet fragment, then their experts wouldn't be able to examine it themselves, and they would be stuck merely attacking the government's report and credibility. Basically, they wouldn't be able to offer a counter narrative potentially. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but come on, Greg, the government's totally trustworthy. What are you talking about?
What? Yeah, we talked about this before. Yeah,
I mean, the crime lab and we could trust DNA analysis and all that. What are you talking about?
Federal laws, you're probably aware of this. Federal laws are typically more punitive than state laws, right? And so most federal criminal cases plea. And I think what's happened over the years is that because of that, the labs are more inclined to just give out the result that the prosecutor wants, because if they do that, it's probably going to enter into a plea bargain, right?
I mean, and also too, like the state, all the different state, agencies, the law enforcement agencies and the legal side of the state, they're the ones that are constantly in communication and relationship with these labs, more so than defense, right? Like, because most of those people stay in those positions or at least within that side of the system for a while, right?
No, that's right. And, here's the thing about it is that, the with their experts in the sense that are people working for the bureaucracy in these crime labs, whereas the defense can go and get, if they have the funding, right? Like the #1 expert of ballistics at Harvard or whatever, So that is an advantage on the defense, is that they can, if they got the funds, they can go get a more distinguished expert generally.
Yeah. Your feed is it cut out in the beginning. You're good now. Can you restate what you just said?
Yeah. So, and look, I learned one thing, and this isn't to discount everyone that works for the government,
Right.
but generally the government doesn't get the highest of the high in each field. Like these lab technicians aren't the cream of the crop, right? So
No, because the state doesn't pay well.
yeah, exactly. And so the defense, if they have the funding, right? So that's the thing. When you're indigent, you're kind of stuck only being able to hire experts that you can afford, that they give you the money for. But just in a theoretical world, if you had all the money that you needed, you could go get a more distinguished expert.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
What else meaningful came out of that case, that hearing, that appearance?
I think as far as the publicity, coming to understand, I mean, I'll just say this. I don't think we should expect to be put out of the courtroom. I think judge is going to allow the media to continue to be there.
Correct.
And, it's funny because both sides acknowledged like conspiracy theories. They acknowledged that Trump, Vance, the governor, all these people made very prejudicial statements, like right off the bat about Tyler Robinson.
being guilty, and death penalty,
and I'll say this: I think at the end of the day, again, judge isn't going to exclude the media. They're going to depend on having as large of a jury pool and diverse of a jury pool as possible, and just being very robust in their voir dire in order to alleviate any kind of potential media issues.
Is it weird? I mean, I would have thought the prosecution would not want the media in there and that the defense would. Why do you think in this situation it's flipped?
Well, to be quite honest with you, there's been a few news. I'll admit this with the defense. There's one aspect that I certainly agree with them on. And that was the first couple court hearings. They had lip readers. They had body language readers that then went on these shows for money and gave opinions that the way Tyler Robinson smiled, he's definitely a psychopath. Just very heinous stuff, man. And I get that. I do get that. That's crazy.
That does mess with any potential jury pool, that especially if an expert in behavior analysis,
there you go.
Language, if they claim that they're an expert, that means what they're about to say that follows can be accepted wholesale, and so any potential juror would watch that and be like, wow, this expert just analyzed his lips or his body language and he's a psycho. He did it.
And in the body language guy, apparently he has a YouTube channel. You know how I know that? Because when they interviewed him, he had his YouTube plaque behind him, like with his YouTube channel name. So, it's obviously self-promotion, right? And no one wants to hear that. Oh, Tyler's having, he's in county jail. County jail sucks. Guess what? He gets to dress up for a day and come talk to some like real world people. Oh, he's smiling, huh? Imagine that, right? They don't want to hear that, right?
Yeah, the fact that there's a million different reasons why he might be smiling when he's out of the court, out of the cell, that have no, negative motive. Okay, one of the next things, so with the bullet, the autopsy, do we know who did the autopsy? What the doctor is name?
No, I don't think that's ever been released.
Do you think it ever will be?
I don't think we're going to see that thing until it comes up in the evidence, like
in case.
Like whether it be pre-trial or at the trial. I don't think we're going to see that thing until then. And I think the reason for that is because of all the speculation and stuff. And not only that, both cases are preparing for trial. I think it's going to be a hot button issue. So I think they're probably going to keep it under wraps, keep it on their experts' desk, I hope. And we'll hear about it when it comes.
I mean, with, okay, so a couple things. Brian Harple, if you remember in the Sean Ryan show, he got all, holier than thou in like, they should release the autopsy. Like, the autopsy is going to vindicate him and his team. Do you remember that? Where he's like, I know they did an autopsy. I spoke with Vance and the president asked me, what do you need? And he said, I need an autopsy stat. And when the hospital said that it was only going to be a day, he's like, that's way too long. They're going to come out with JFK theories, and this is going to be anyways, he put all of this energy and time talking about the autopsy as if it is the thing that will prove that he was killed with a 30-06 bullet.
Look, here's another thing. This, Matt. He rode in the vehicle with Charlie's either injured or dead body. Okay,
Correct.
So he had access to that wound, and so
Correct.
look, you can take a bullet fragment and go boop. So just put that out there, not to speculate too far.
I freaking love you, dude. So honestly, 100%. So, Blake thinks that he wasn't dead in the car, Blake Bednar's.
Yeah.
And that could be, but so that they shot him in the car to finish him off, and that there was a struggle, and that's how the bullet got in there. However, my issue with that would be at that close of a range inside the neck. If you shoot it, most likely wouldn't the bullet just go right through?
Oh, that's a good question. But look, these people are obviously very, very well resourced and talented. I'm sure that you could probably load a special cartridge in pretty much any gun for something like that. Does that make sense?
To where it enters and then loses velocity really fast.
Like shorten the bullet. Yeah, 20, 30 grains or something,
That's a good point. Maybe that's where they use the palm pistol. I'm just kidding. But I've always thought what you just said, honestly, but no one said that out loud yet, is that let's just follow this out. Say, either the mic explodes or it's the necklace, right? They were trying to get a chest wound, right, to make it look like a 30-06. And we can say that, or we at least believe that, because they had the Tyler Robinson with the rifle on the Losi Center narrative ready to go. And so there's no way that they planned for the neck, because the neck created all these problems, the neck wound.
Yeah.
Right. And so most likely they were trying to take him out through an explosive, either in, the mic or the necklace. But then when the neck wound happened, I think he most likely was either dead or at least on the way out, and then in the car gave opportunity to all 5 of those guys, to the wound, to the body. And, it's easier for me to believe that he bled out in the car. There wasn't a struggle. And, they put a already fired round, right? That's the key that other people need to understand. Not like a freaking unfired round, but they fired the round somewhere else. Oh, but then why would they have had the fired round on them?
That's a good question, but I'll say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Those people who rode with him to the hospital are not publicly accountable officials, right? And so normally in these instances, he would have been picked up by paramedics that are, accountable to the county or whoever's paying them.
A lot of oversight. Yeah.
Yeah. Who have to generate reports on the scene of what they saw, at the time, where we would know exactly what the injuries were at that time. But when they put him in that vehicle and take him to the hospital, well, of course, we saw the neck injury, but we don't know for certain that was the only injury that he had.
No, 100%. In fact, are you on X at all?
Yeah, I am.
So Blake Bednar's, do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. I know Blake. Yeah.
All right. So did you see his video that he posted? Because X, you can put up things that you can't do on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because we're just little children that need to be our hand held the whole time. But anyways, his video that is high quality of once Charlie falls to the ground and whatever they're doing, we can't see what they're doing, but then they pick him up. What you do see is when they pick him up, his shirt gets pulled up and you can totally see his torso and you can see underneath his back, and there's nothing in there. The whole fake death thing, right? That there's a squib and there's
Jordan Henshaw.
Yeah, but what you do see, you see some burn, or what look like burn marks on his lower left tummy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I know exactly. I haven't examined it super closely, but I think I am familiar with the picture that you're referring to.
Yeah, and so I think there's definitely other injuries, maybe not necessarily injuries that caused his death or contributed to his death, but I would say likely secondary injuries caused by whatever did cause the death, right? Because what the other thing is, and I hope Barron revisits it. Him and Ali Top Files did the breakdown on the electrocution theory.
They did. I remember.
And a lot of the video and photos of the hands, which did look charred.
They did. They certainly did. Yeah,
They
man.
did look like they sustained some sort of injury.
Yeah.
How could they have been injured in any way from a bullet wound to the neck is beyond me. So either it would have to be electrocution or burns of some kind to have done that.
Yeah.
At all, and the stomach injury.
Yeah. I've thought about, maybe there was a shock to like get him to tense up. So that way, when the other implement did what it did, to sound like a gunshot, that like it all looked natural. Whereas if he was just sitting, natural and this thing explodes, for instance, if it's the mic, it would just have went, I doubt it would have like tensed him up like that. And that's just, again, I don't know that. Just
no, I know we're left to speculate and theorize because the official story and all of the individuals involved have gatekeeped everything. And so the best we can do at this point is analyze video, rehash evidence that's already been disclosed, and then theorize based on what everyone else and what we know at this time, and try to put together the most plausible, most reasonable explanation. And I don't know about you. It's not like I'm prone to conspiracy theories. It's not like I want to believe this crazy conspiracy. And also, it's not even that crazy when you realize how much the government's done.
That's right. That's right.
This is just like a Thursday for them. But it's like, this is based on everything we saw and all the context clues, like about Charlie's life with Philly and his wife before, what was going on with Iran and everything, and then what TPUSA has done after, this seems to be the best plausible explanation. And it happens to be what would be considered a conspiracy because it's 2 or more people are involved.
And look what they're trying to do to Tucker Carlson now.
Bro.
Right? You saw that?
Bro, I'm so glad you brought that up. Go ahead.
That's another piece of the puzzle for me, right? That shows that they want people who are contrary to that out of the way, right? Out of the way.
For those of you that didn't see, Tucker just released a video yesterday, and then I think another one this morning regarding that the CIA and, bottom line is his phone, his text messages are being tracked, tapped, and usually that's the first step. Barron went into this in his episode tonight. That's the first step before they then go to a judge and say, see, we need a search warrant. We need to tap all of his phones. We need to get all of his communications. It's the first step before they start to try to prosecute, arrest, and charge him. For him, it'd be espionage is what they're trying to say. But Barron said they do this in all sorts of cases, right? They leak information to the press first, like the state or whoever it is. So then once it's out in the public, then they can take that to the judge and be like, see, now here, probable cause, I need a search warrant. And then the judge goes, diddly, diddly do.
Dude. Yeah. It's, and I can just tell you as a defense, as a person who's done some federal defense work.
Yep.
What do I want to say? The assumption of the court and a lot of times juries, unfortunately, that everything the federal government's doing is credible and they would never lie in court. It's very frustrating. But I think between the files release, the Kirk incident, and other things that we're seeing going on and past stuff, I think that's starting to erode. I really do.
I really hope so. I mean, what's sad is that you see such a large, maybe it's not as large as they're making it seem like online, but definitely a good majority of people are still towing the pro-Philly, pro-Trump, pro-Iran, pro-TPUSA, pro-Erica Kirk, caravan. And it's like, how are there so many people still so easily deceived by this and like don't question?
I think a lot of them, Matt, just to be quite honest with you, I would imagine that most of the, because Barron also covered that tonight, right? That the age range of the people who are still, I think a lot of it has to do with how they're being told to interpret the Bible.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you.
Yeah. Well, and right, that so this has come out. Many people have reported on this. So the Schofield Study Bible was perverted. I forget the guy's name. We could look it up in a minute, but the guy that funded that, this was the first time that a Bible had a man's like written interpretation next to the scriptures. Okay. And so the Schofield Study Bible came out in like the 1920s or 30s or something like that. It may be even like the 30s or 40s. Don't nail me to a date. But it came out a while ago, right? And what it did was the whole purpose, and it was funded by a Zionist and Philly, and that's who funded him. And it was to insert this idea that they had a biblical right to and claim to the land, and that the scriptures in Genesis that are and the other ones that are so famous, those who bless Abraham will be blessed and cursed will be cursed. Never before had that ever for 2,000 years. Like if you go listen to Regine Bowler and many other Catholics, never before until this Schofield Study Bible came out did any of the church believe that this was a biblical right to the people of Philly, to a physical land. Until then, this Schofield Study Bible changed all that. And now we're still in the repercussions of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what we're seeing, and I talked about this with my members earlier today, but it's like, I think what happened between Charlie Kirk and Iran is this has been a long time plan, right? They keep saying 47 years we've been wanting to go after Iran. And because Charlie had his finger on the pulse and was ride or die with the young people, and they were moving against it with Tucker Carlson, other people also speaking. I think Philly just came to the point to where got to get rid of him. We got Trump, we got him by the balls. And so we've got to do that. They just like the timing was now or never for them, and they did whatever that they had to do to make it happen. They weren't going to let someone like Charlie Kirk stand in the way of a 47-year holy war plan, whatever they got going on, the Greater Israel Project. And I see it perfectly viable to me. I mean, not that I agree with it, but that intention seems to resonate with other things.
So, I mean, have you heard of like the Pax Judaica? So this whole thing, and even Warner von Braun had talked about the plan from the 1950s, right? That they had a plan to invade and take over 7 countries in the Middle East, and that eventually the final card would be a fake alien invasion where they could institute a one world government and control everyone. They may not even need to do that, but they might do that. You could see there's a lot of videos coming, a lot of movies coming out this year that are about that. But anyway, think about the CIA and what we now know about Tucker. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine what they found on Charlie Kirk's phone? The night before.
A treasure trove of people.
The night before, right? So he sent the text, I cannot and will not be bullied by this. You leave me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. And then he has that Zoom call meeting at 7, 8 p.m. And Josh Hammer's on it, Dave Rubin, or all of the pro-Philadelphians are on there. A rabbi in Philly's on it. And that's like their last round table trying to convince him, freaking don't do this, man. And he doesn't. And then who knows, a fight, an argument we think ensues with Erica. Imagine who he's texting the night before, after this, and then the morning of, because I think Candace, and I think it might have been someone else said, he actually said, they're going to kill me tomorrow.
I think I've heard that too.
And he actually said, I think they're going to kill me tomorrow. Speaking of the 10th. So imagine who he's texting, who he's calling, who he's emailing, who he's private messaging on any app that may be encrypted or not. But if the freaking government can do whatever the government wants to do, imagine if they saw something that we didn't even see. And we have enough evidence just from what we saw publicly that even supports the fact that just on what is publicly known, he said and did, that they would take him out. Imagine what could be privately known.
Well, and let's just think real quick. I mean, based upon the fact that we know Biden and them had started an investigation of Charlie Kirk, I'm sure the feds were in Charlie Kirk's phone the entire time. Right?
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, they would have probably had access to his stuff all the way through, I'm sure, unfortunately.
I mean, at least for sure that side of the government. And then when it transferred over, I mean, I mean, there's, the government's so large too, it's pretty compartmentalized. I don't know if, would those left-leaning, government workers in the government, would they play ball with Trump when he got in? And
I think it's because Philadelphia runs all of them.
correct.
It wouldn't have mattered which side that they were appointed from.
And so that's what I was going to say next, though. Do you really think then, so if when Biden was in, so this was before 2023, Charlie hadn't started saying anything about Philly yet. Do you really think Charlie was even being investigated?
We know Biden and them were trying to investigate him with Arctic frost, right? I would imagine that was primarily geared towards all the tax code and tax law violations. But again, it would have been an in, from a constitutional perspective. But, look, my theory is that, and Barron talked about this too. It's like Philly basically just does whatever they want. They're not bound by the Constitution here. And because I think Charlie was their ticket to ensure future prosperity for them through influencing the young people to like Philadelphia. You know what I mean?
It could have even been a tactic Philly was using when Biden was in to get him so afraid and to get him to the point where where Philly comes in and says, look, they're going to do this. They're going to send you away. We're going to help you. But when we help you, you're ours now.
I've said that since day one, because when I first started looking into the tax code violations for Turning Point USA, Turning Point Faith, in particular, Charlie was basically, they created Turning Point Faith for the purpose of violating the tax code.
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Preaching 100%. Politics from the pulpit. Right. And he was saying that in the public. And I thought, how in the hell did he survive Biden's whole presidency without getting slammed? And I think it's because Philadelphia is in the background providing him that protection.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder too, if that was part of the conversation with BB. And when Charlie turned him down, that would even make sense too, why BB would even be more mad. Like, hey, we're protecting you against Biden. And now
Trump, he's not worried anymore, right? So when Trump gets elected, he's not worried anymore. Trump's not going to come after him because he got Trump, get him elected. And so because they didn't have that hanging over his head, then it went to the money. And then when he didn't get swayed by the money, and they gave him that last round table and it didn't work, it was over with them.
Well, and I think his mistake was that he thought he could trust Trump and Vance and all of them.
I think that's exactly it. It's so sad, man. That is just so terrible to me.
I think he thought that Trump and Vance would be more loyal to America and to American citizen like Charlie, a patriot, over Philly. And plus, we hadn't really known yet. So like all of the things that we knew that the left, the right, and Trump, like that they accepted money and stuff from donors, AIPAC and things like that. But like the whole Miriam Adelson thing, that happened during Hanukkah week, right? When she's like, she gave 250 million and said, you should run another 4 years. You're the first Jewish president with Mark Levin.
Yeah, I don't know if it happened during Hanukkah week, but it would not surprise me.
I'm pretty sure it did because that was the week that it's up on the back of the screen. You could see it behind them. He wore the light blue tie that whole time during Hanukkah. That's kind of why that whole Jewish coalition was there. But so I think Charlie wouldn't have known yet, I don't think, where Trump's true allegiance was. It hadn't really come out, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm going to send you a link later tonight or tomorrow to this channel called Hidden America.
Okay.
But anyways, the dude goes super deep on this whole plan and it's cool. It's like esoteric knowledge with what they're doing to control the world. But he went into the fact that I agree. It's like the people over there in Philadelphia, they really felt like Trump was like a really significant figure, like leader of the Jews, basically. And I'll send it to you, but we're kind of touching in on where that video goes. And the plans with Trump, I think, were very elaborate. And I think that they were planned much longer back than we would even realize.
I would say, in my opinion, Trump actually never was America first, in my opinion.
No.
Right. I think this war was planned from before the first presidency. I
Okay.
don't even think he was supposed to win against Biden. I think that was part of the lore, that they stole it and that he was prosecuted and
Yeah.
indicted, but he survived it. What a hero. Look at how bad the left is. Like everything seemed to, and because he needed to be in power right now from 2024 to 2028.
Yeah.
In my opinion, also because of the Old Testament biblical prophecy that these rabbis are speaking about, the whole Butler thing. They're using the fact that he was. I don't know if you know this yet. They're saying that Trump is the anointed one that's going to point the way to the
Yeah.
true Jewish
Yes.
Messiah, and
Yes.
because he
Yes.
was
Yes.
pierced in the ear. It says that in their scripture somewhere that the person has to be pierced in the ear.
Wow. Yeah, so that video doesn't quite make that connection, but again, it points to the fact that they had, dude, and it goes all the way back to like a 1970s book or 80s book that was written by someone who they believe related to Jeffrey Epstein. And it's like the lead character was this guy named Trumpelman. Dude, you just got to, it'll blow your mind. I'm going to send it to you. But yeah, I think that these plans have been firmly ingrained for quite some time. And, you know, with Philadelphia pretty much running the media, I mean, let's be honest, if they want to put someone as president, I mean, not saying they would have total control, but like pretty good control. You know what I mean?
And
Pretty
we
good
have
control.
to keep in mind, right? These elite families and like the very, very super wealthy elite, they don't deal in traditional time frames like we do, right?
No.
They're looking generationally because
Oh,
everything
absolutely.
gets kept within the families. They marry between family and family. Money gets kept in, and they're planning things 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years down the line. They're playing such a different chess game than we are. And to
Yes.
think that some of these things could have been planned a long time ago
Yeah.
it completely makes sense, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, we bust our ass to maybe hand something off to our kids or me and my stepkids one day.
Right.
You know, those people, they're like you say, it's a legacy.
They're trying to hand the world over to
Yes.
their descendants.
Yeah.
Plus, if we keep in mind that, you know, Hillary and a lot of these wealthy individuals are after the key to immortality, to what is it? Not reincarnation, but to right when they were looking for Nimrod's tomb.
Like the secret to infinite life, or
right. I forget what it's called. What's the other term? Anyways, but to either bring someone back or to just extend their life. These individuals are, you know, they're thinking they can cheat death. They're thinking they can become God and that they can actually run this whole planet indefinitely.
And, you know, that's the thing. It's like, to cheat death, the reason why you would want to do that is because you feel that if you do die for what you've done, it ain't gonna be good for you, you know. And so they want to stay here. Like, oh, it's like heaven on earth for them, right? To have all the money and power and all that. I mean, not necessarily, right? But in their view, it's like heaven on earth. Why would we want to go? And plus, because we've done all this bad stuff, we might not be going somewhere or after here that's going to be good. You know,
correct.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, no, I agree that that's part of it. We kind of got on a tangent. Let's hop back.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
No, you're good. I took us there. I apologize. I'm interested in all this. Why have the feds not handed over any of the evidence yet in the Tyler Robinson case?
Well, again, and we did touch a little bit in full disclosure up before we got on here, but you know, and I don't know this, but look, it wouldn't surprise me, just my opinion, speculation, and this is based upon what I know and believe about this case and my experience as an attorney. I wouldn't be surprised if they want to hand over the evidence in a condition to try to get the result even from the defense expert that they're wanting, because they've already handed over the reports, right? So they've already got the expert reports, but they don't have the underlying evidence to test. I don't know why that would be. It seems to me when an expert is done with their report, that means they're done with their testing. They should be done with the evidence and handed over.
Right.
Just my opinion, right? Now with this bullet fragment, apparently there's going to be a dispute about whether they can further test it or not. So that, I mean, I guess in that sense, sure, I can kind of see that if they're wanting to do further testing, waiting on a court order. But everything else should be handed over. And it didn't sound to me like everything had been handed over. Right.
Okay. And give me like a reason why you think the feds really wouldn't hand it over.
Well, the bullet
Like,
fragment, on the bullet fragment, they're wanting to quote unquote do further testing. So that would be that. But everything else, I just don't know. I mean, other than they might not be able to access it readily, or maybe I don't know, man. I just really don't know. I mean, every time I've ever had experts do testing on pieces of evidence, items of evidence, it's a real coordinated process, right? And it usually goes from one side to the other. There's usually not a lag in, when the reports come, then the evidence is ready to be picked up, to be examined. This hold of evidence beyond report, where the other side's just looking at the report, but they can't do anything to create any kind of counter narrative through another expert examination. I mean, and that's another thing too, is you got to realize in the media, they're making it look like Tyler Robinson's attorneys are the ones that are delaying by filing all these frivolous motions. When if you really read between the lines, or at least in regards to the May preliminary hearing, which has tentatively been set, read between the lines, it's really the government is the one that might be pushing that date back. We'll know that in April.
And so the state only has the Fed's conclusions and report.
Yeah, so that's another thing.
They've never even seen any of the actual evidence yet.
So the State Bureau hasn't handled the evidence either. And so that was another thing that they said, is that it's really 2 degrees away, because it needs to go from the federal, because I guess they're going to get the State Bureau to investigate it too. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a process they go through. But yeah, they haven't seen it either. So it's definitely
DC has it. The FBI in DC?
Well, or they're in Salt Lake, where I would imagine they would probably keep it in Salt Lake, but I don't know that. But you're probably right. I think the ATF's lab is in DC, where they do all their final ballistics analysis and testing.
How could the state, because they just believe that interagent, everyone's telling the truth. But I was like, how could they make any kind of definitive claim without seeing and testing anything themselves?
Well, the state hasn't, right? So this is all coming from the feds. So I'm assuming that. I mean, this is kind of weird too, to be honest with you, is the whole reason why the feds are even involved. It's a state case. Why they would have the feds involved doing this is a little bit irregular to me. Now, not necessarily. I mean, there are cases where the feds get involved, but they don't end up prosecuting. And they do lab work and stuff, which didn't turn out for them the last time I served as an expert. I got that charge
dismissed.
Yeah, dismissed. But yeah, it's a little weird to me still, but it just really feeds what I believe is that the feds are involved, and not in a good way. And when we see Dan Bongina, pardon my language, talking all this stuff about Candace, I think it's a lot of self-serving stuff in that, to be quite honest with you.
Right. He was the assistant director of the FBI.
He was, and I'm almost sure he was there that day too.
Right, when this happened, he was still there when this all went down.
I think he was there that day. I think him and Cash flew into Provo that day.
Yeah. And also, so I mean, the feds are the ones that showed up with they weren't asked to be there. Oh well, they might have been asked by like the president or JD Vance, but like the state agencies didn't call them up and be like, hey, we need you, right?
It's almost like they were in, and remember too, Kash Patel gutted the Salt Lake office just months before all this went down, right? So it's almost like, because you got to imagine, if you're the FBI director, Kash Patel, and even the assistant director, Dan Bongino, your ability to just drop everything you're doing on some random given day and show up in Utah.
Yeah,
I mean, not saying it's not possible, but that seems irregular to me.
Yeah. And let's talk about that well. First, let me hit these 4 that are here. Super chats. We got Debbie. She new membership.
Debbie. Thank you, Debbie.
Or she gifted a membership. There you go. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie.
And then we got Mystic. Super sticker.
There she is. There she is.
Got Jim Bear. Did you guys see Wolf and Finance video today? Yes, I did. Did you?
Yes, I did.
And we can talk about that in a bit, because I thought there was some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Mystic super sticker. Thank you. Okay, so going back to that that Kash Patel gutted the local Provo FBI office months in it, like a couple over the summer. When did that happen in
I
25?
want to say it was like, and dude, it might have actually been in August, to be quite honest with you.
So not even enough time to get it fully back up and like running, like really tip top, like, good.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the thing is, it's like, why would you do something like that? I'm going to look up the date real quick just while we're on it. But yeah, just like it's just very irregular, man, and just very coincidental that all this occurred. And would he do it? Probably to get rid of the most senior people.
Correct. Anyone that could
that might
in the way. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyone that could voice an opinion with authority and could actually stop it. Yeah.
And when I look at the pictures of the FBI in and around that crime scene, God bless them, but it looks like the minor
movies. Yeah,
the movies are there. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, okay, so Dog and Cat Parent just asked Greg, if the defense team is not paid off, will they view all the security camera and cell phone video and use their common sense?
So I'll say this. Apparently, most of the digital forensic evidence has actually been from my understanding, the state's experts have went through it. I guess did their own reports on authentication and all that, and have handed that over. They should absolutely look at the end of the day, at the very least, those text messages need to be looked into very heavily. But yes, I mean, absolutely. They should be, and of course there's a lot of it, right? I think they said there's so many terabytes, like 300 terabytes or something, but like at the very least, zeroing in on the day of the incident, right? The ones that have been released, the photos of the, they need to go scrub that. They need to go analyze that forensically and put them to the test, right? They need to show that that's authentic.
And the Discord chat where he talks about it as well, because that could also have been,
have you seen pictures of the Discord chat?
Nope.
I haven't either. Yeah,
I've been told about it. So, I mean, I have no clue whether or not it actually exists, but I mean, is it on the indictment? I think it is, right? Don't they talk about the Discord chat on the charging?
No, they don't talk about, I don't think they talk about, and I can look at that. I don't think they talk about the Discord chat. I think the only kind of communications evidence that they specifically enter for sure are the text messages. They very well might like briefly mention it, but I've actually got it here, so I can definitely look at that.
Glenn Coco became a new member to your show.
Oh, Glenn Coco, very nice. I love having you. Thank you.
She's one of our mods.
Awesome. We'd love to have you. Be honored.
She's amazing. Mystic, Bree Baby X, Jim Bear, Glenn Coco, and Renita Sophia.
Man,
yeah. You got to get good mods. You got to.
I'm going to be needing them for sure.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, Blake is great. Love him. But his chat gets out of hand because he doesn't have any mods. He hasn't worked on that yet.
Yeah. You said that last time I had a stream, there were people saying off stuff in there. And like when I would look at it, it would get me off of my thing. I think they were intended to do that, to be quite honest.
Yeah. A lot of times they do. On StreamYard, you're on StreamYard, right?
Yes, I am. Yep.
All right. So when you have the chat up next, when you see a negative chat, there's 3 buttons on the person's name. You can click on that and it says ban user and delete comment. It's just an easy way to get someone out of there.
Yeah, I've had to do a couple like that because and I'll say this too. My members, we're like a family. I've been doing a stream every Sunday, and like we talk personal stuff for half the time today, so it's it's important that in our chats generally stay positive.
100%.
Even when people are disagreeing, it's very respectfully, and we're here just to ask the right questions and hopefully get the right answers.
I think a lot of my community is just like your community, and I think a lot of them are in both places. Actually,
I'm almost sure.
Yeah, and I think the way you tried to run the space yourself is the same way I do, and I think we want the same thing for our communities, and I think that's why I think that's why you're saying the same thing that
Yeah.
I'm noticing in mine. It's a healthy, everyone says that too. They're like, we love this chat. We love this place, you know?
Yeah. It's as much negativity and bullshit that's going on out here in the world. Like, you know, we're asking very important questions, right? Like what we're talking about with this whole case potentially cuts to the very heart of our government.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very important questions. And so we need to have a very positive, constructive environment to do that, because if we stay negative and we stay laser focused on just one theory or explanation, you know, like that's where they get us. That's what they want us to do.
Yeah.
Right. That's why they sow all the division, left versus right, because we get so laser focused on our side. We're right. They're wrong. Look at them, back and forth. That's why they've been able to do everything that we're seeing in this case that they're what they thought they were able to do, at least, I guess, you know.
Glenn Coco, I agree. YouTube Premium is definitely worth it, and I think it's $13.99. I think Golden Cat asked how much is premium. I think it's $13.99, right?
Dude, to be quite honest with you, I'm just getting my YouTube. I didn't even realize they had memberships like that, dude. I mean, that's how technologically deficient I am in a way.
Oh, you're not? Don't you have to be YouTube Premium to have a channel and everything?
Apparently not, dude. Like I literally, I was the other day, I was doing a live and the commercials came up and they told me in the chat, like, hey, you need a YouTube Premium membership.
Premium, yeah. Yeah. And yeah, you can download, like there's so much more you can do with premium. I think it's $13.99 a month and it totally is worth it. Granted, you know, a lot of people are not liking the way YouTube's censoring and docking a lot of us just for being truth tellers. But you know, I'm also, I don't know about you, I'm also now streaming directly to Rumble. So I've added that. Do you know about Rumble, Greg?
No, I haven't done.
It's tricky. It's totally different. I don't spend a lot of time and energy in there, but a couple people had messaged me from other countries that have watched my stuff, and they're like, "You need to stream to Rumble." Some people, I think, some places don't get YouTube, or they don't like going through YouTube and YouTube getting their money. And so, yeah. Okay. So getting back to it, you're looking up the indictment to see if it talks about the Discord chats, right?
So I looked, it does not mention, and again, I briefly scanned it. I don't think it mentions, I've read it a bunch of times. It does not mention the Discord in there.
And what information actually is in the Discord chat?
Oh, well, I don't think any of us know. I think there's three.
What have they said?
You just mentioned a third. There's essentially three items of evidence that they've alleged Cash Patel and them specifically have alleged that never came through on the information, and that's the screwdriver.
Yes.
That's Tyler Robinson allegedly appearing back at the crime scene.
Correct.
And then you just mentioned those Discord messages, which I'm almost sure I heard of, didn't make it in here.
And the screwdriver, like, I don't even know why they would even have said that. I mean, knowing the era of the 30-06 that they're talking about, to fully disassemble that, you would have needed way more tools than just a screwdriver.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, probably some type of hex wrench, I would imagine.
I think a gun vise, like a rifle vise.
Yeah, you would need something probably to hold it still or hold it in place.
Some of those things are tightened in so well, there's no way you're getting it out with just like a screwdriver.
Yeah, because you know, gunsmiths have, like you say, they have the vices and the grips that they can hold it. And especially in the time constraints that they allege that he did it.
Well, look at from when the shot goes off, it's 12:23. I don't know what second it shot off, but I know that the beginning of the video of the person on the roof running starts at 12:23 and 34 seconds.
So that would technically line up with the timeline that video, if that's true, right? Because I think the incident with Charlie Kirk happened at, what'd you say it was? Because no, it's 12:23 is
Correct.
when
he was shot.
He was shot. Yeah.
Correct. But the video starts running. The person is in a dead sprint on the roof at 12:23 and 34 seconds. That means he only had 34 seconds to get up from the
position. There's no way. There's just no way.
Disassemble the rifle, put it in the backpack or wrap it in a towel, and be halfway. He was at least 15 to 20 feet away from the corner where supposedly the shot was taken. There's just not enough time, even if we added minutes to that, I remember an FBI sniper said even a experienced person, it would take them at least a minute to disassemble that rifle fully.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And if it's as to be believed that it was an actual World War I era Mauser 98 rifle, the tooling on that might have been even a little bit different than it is
100,
today. You know what I mean?
100%.
Uh,
Okay, so did I already ask you? Yeah, why are some of the reasons why the feds wouldn't want to hand over the evidence? I also was going to say, because then once they hand it over, well, they've already made their conclusions, which is interesting, right? It's
Yeah.
like they've written their paper, their what did you call it? Their
expert reports.
there you go, the export reports, which is their findings, their conclusions. And then they're going to cite or reference the tests they did or how they found it or
Exactly the methodology and all that. Yeah,
but that they're not handing anything actually over and any of the actual stuff.
Not the actual stuff to be analyzed. Yeah. With the only, I guess, seemingly valid excuse being the alleged bullet fragment because they want to try to do further destructive testing. And look, maybe they do want to destroy that thing. Maybe that's the whole purpose behind it because their report was inconclusive. They just want to destroy it. And that's why they want to
reference it. Because then you can still reference it that they found
the bullet. Yeah, you sure can. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, right. We found the bullet. There was a bullet. So a bullet is what was in his neck, and it is most likely what killed him. But we can't really test it. So, I mean, take our word for it.
And me and you both know a 30-06 bullet is, that long, right? Like it's a lot of lead. Yeah. How on God's green earth would there just be a small fragment left so small that your testing was inconclusive? That makes no sense to me. Would it just dissipate in thin air? Like,
I mean, I guess they're going to stick to the frangible round theory. I guess that's the only way a 30-06 round would fragment into pieces that small, that they're so tiny that the only one left is this one piece that they can't even test because it's so small.
So okay. And here's another issue, right, Matt? Because now that goes to them paving over the crime scene, right? If there was only one left in his neck, a small fragment, it's a frangible round. Well, then those other fragments would have been there on the ground, presumably, right?
Yeah, possibly.
Are those pieces we see in the scene from the back of the truck? Are those pieces of a frangible round that fell? No, I mean, just hypothesizing, but I don't think it's going to turn out, if this case is real and it goes as a normal court case should, I don't think this is going to turn out good for him in any way.
For Tyler?
No, for the state, for the government.
Yeah. I mean, man, yeah. No, I think so. I think what they're saying is that the frangible round, it fragmented inside and everything is so tiny that it's not even worth mentioning. But the only part worth mentioning is that one piece that they found, but it's still so tiny we can't test it. But
it's inconclusive.
Yeah, and I think the stuff in the back of the car, I don't think it's the microphone.
Yeah, well, okay. I definitely can't say what it is.
I think there's no way that. So, like, follow me with this, right? And so it's hard for me because I believe the microphone or the necklace killed him. But just follow me. The magnet stayed intact. We see it. It's on the shirt. It's still on the outside, and the reverse side. So the male and the female of the magnet stay intact, right? Because the magnet stays on the shirt after the explosion. It's still there. The piece where the explosive and the battery and the components of the mic are behind the backside. It's on the inside. You can't see it. The bigger part of the mic is on the inside of the shirt. That's where the shape charge and the priming charge would have been, and that's the part that would have exploded. Okay, and so if a big piece of that fragmented and a piece of shrapnel is what caught him in the neck and caused the wound. And we definitely see fragments, something what looks like fragments. When you slow down the video, you can see pieces flying up, bouncing off of the roof of the inside of the canopy. And you see what look like pieces of plastic fall down. Ian Carroll reported on this, and so did Blake. My question is this. And Blake also thinks that that's what a lot of the security team and local law enforcement get tasked out afterwards. They're being told to go pick up things in the grass. I agree that it couldn't be shells. They're not looking for, bullet casings. However, this is my issue with it, right? if it exploded, all the pieces that make it into the car would have had to been on Charlie. It would have had to on his clothing.
Yeah, like inside of it. So like
Correct.
whenever he went over, like it got caught because they carried him sideways, like he's a log or
Correct.
something, right? Like
Correct. But follow me that there was so many pieces supposedly that got caught inside the clothing that didn't fall out during transfer, during that 30-40 yard walk where they're carrying him, he's bouncing, like things could be, and then they get him in the car, and then all of a sudden now once they're in the car, how do they all just flake off of them? There's hundreds of pieces in the car.
I would imagine. Well, they probably went through great lengths to shake them out. I mean,
maybe
I don't know that, but I just like
Brian Harple said he doesn't cut his shirt off until he gets in the hospital. When they hand him over to the incoming ER staff, he cuts the shirt and says to the staff, "Go get a defibrillator and go get drugs." He starts barking orders at the doctors.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's in the Sean. Yeah, we watched it a little bit yesterday with Blake, but he says he cut the shirt right before, and then he's like, "We need a defibrillator. Go get us the drugs." And he's telling them what to do, even though this guy's just a former cop who's done some possible, combat medic training course, not a medical school and years of OR, experience. He's telling them what to do. But my issue is that, like, how could have all of those pieces fallen off? And here, let's even, let me pull up Candace and we can look at it, how much actually is on the inside of the car. Okay. And I didn't have anything shared to screen yet because we weren't doing that until now. Here we are. But let me pull it up. And goodness gracious. All right, here we go. All right. I'm also going to make it big so that the everyone at home can see it better. Okay. All right. Can you guys see my mouse cursor? My green pointer? Can you see it, Greg?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, in the middle of the screen?
Yeah.
All right, so we have these black pieces. I'm going to point to the big ones, but there's even little ones, okay? There's little ones everywhere, but there's bigger ones here. There's some more here, 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 here. They're all over. They're all over, right? They're all over. There's some over here. And then there's a bunch that fall right here.
Yeah.
All in here, 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 and here. And then there's where's the front? Wait, that's the front one. All right. And then where's this one? What's interesting. So this is where they pulled him in. Okay. If we were to look at the footage when they're dragging him in the car, these are captain chairs. He was draped across here. Okay. If anything would, and this is carpet. You see the carpet here?
Yep.
Okay. They did have floor mats. You can see this is the underneath of a floor mat.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They removed them. This one is just left here. It's kind of folded. You can see a corner piece of it here, and they left it here, but I don't see either that was that one, and either they just moved that one to here or the other ones are removed as well, maybe because it had blood on it. But this is where Charlie would have been, here, across here. Okay. There's no way they pulled him in through here and then pulled him into the very back. And plus Brian says, if we take him at his word in that, they pull him in, and Rick Cutler is sitting in this seat with Charlie's head. This would be Charlie's head. And then Brian Harple is in this seat with Charlie's feet, and Charlie's left foot is in the door jamb, and the door can't shut. All right.
Okay.
Now, this is the back seat. Wait. This is the back seat. See, it's a bucket seat. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see it.
That's where Frank Turk was.
Okay. Yeah, because he hopped in the back, right? Didn't Frank Turk get in the back?
Yeah, he hopped in the trunk, and then he climbed over into this bucket seat.
Okay.
All right. And I can't tell if that's carpet or hard, like rubber flooring. It could be either. But this is where all the black stuff we see is. It's in the back seat. It's not, I mean, unless it was on the floor mats and then they shook it out in the back. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out how it could have gone from the front seat where he was, right? So we go back to the front seat. How it could have gotten from right here, all the way to the back.
Well, that's a good. Have you zoomed in? Can you see any pieces up there in the front part of it on the floor? Have you zoomed in on the front floor up there to see if there's any
I'm gonna
specks up
try
there?
if it lets me. I think I'm gonna have to download it. It's not letting me.
Okay,
zoom
okay,
in.
yeah, no, that's fine. I was just wondering, like, I don't know. That's
Yeah, I don't see it, but here's the other problem is this is carpet and, well, it looks like what I think is carpet. There was floor mats, so there could have been a lot of the black stuff on here, and then
Yeah.
they shook it out,
That's
you
right.
know.
That's right.
Just because,
Yeah.
and I do personally believe that they cleaned this up, all right, but they didn't want to clean it up so much so that it was obvious that they cleaned it up. But obviously, they cleaned up part of it, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of blood. It looks like they wiped it off. They moved some stuff around, but and I think, would you say those look like police photos? Why? Let me ask you this. Why would TPUSA have taken these photos?
Well, I have no idea. Is that where they came from?
No, my only two places they could have came from. Who had custody of the car?
Oh, well, that's right. No doubt. Yeah. It looks like it would probably be police photos, but I just can't say for sure. But yeah, it seems to me it should have been the police that took those photos.
And then so here we go. Here you see
are those specks on the handles right there? You see where those little handles are? Are those specks up there, like on?
I see these white things.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
You see those? Is that what you're pointing at? These
yeah.
white
I can't just.
They are specks of something. I don't know what it is though. Okay. But yeah, I see those. This is the writing, the little image of the seat, obviously, because you pull this handle, it moves the seat chair. And then this has a little picture on it. But yeah, these are different. That white dot, and there's 3 dots there.
I think I do see some black specks right almost where your mouth is right there.
So right here. Yeah, these right here.
Okay, yep, that's exactly what I'm looking at.
And then there's one right there and one right there. But here's the thing, that's 4. And so there is a carpet that looks like a clean one. It looks like they must have shook it out. But here's the thing, they rolled the seat forward to take those previous pictures. You could see this chair's in the forward rolled position. Yeah. It even moved the floor mat. And so the specs were underneath the chair. Yeah. In my opinion, that means the specs came from something in the back seat and they fall forward.
Okay. No, I can drive with that interpretation.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of
I think it's irregular that they would have moved the seat to take, normally if it's a crime scene, right, you want it to be exactly as is when you're taking the pictures, right? And so I agree. If they didn't produce any pictures of it like regular, like when they got it, that seems odd to me and seems fishy to me. Right?
Oh, here's the other thing. I got an idea. You know what it is? So, here, look at me. When Frank got in through the back door, but just follow the logic. When they get to the hospital, the people in the front hop out. He needs to get out through. They rolled that front seat forward. That's probably why it got rolled forward, and that's probably they left it in the position it was when they got out of the car. I can be generous and say that there's an easy explanation on why the seats rolled forward. Frank would have had to get out of the car. Yeah. He's in the back bucket seat.
And he's kind of a tall dude too, isn't he?
He's not a small dude. He's at least 5'10", Yeah. He's not going to crawl through. And if there's the blood and they hadn't wiped it down, he's not going to want to touch the seats where all the blood and stuff is. He's going to hit the whoever's on the outside of the car is going to hit the handle, pull it forward, and then he's just going to hop out like that. Here's a couple reasons, maybe for insurance purposes, because Charlie had a work insurance, life insurance policy, and then he had a private one. Also, Brian Harple's security team, they just lost their person. So Dan Flood was his personal security guard. So Dan Flood didn't work for Brian Harple. He worked for TPUSA. Did you know that?
No, I did not. I thought he was one of Harple's people.
No, they worked together on the Schaefer team before they left Schaefer. Schaefer was Charlie's original security team a couple years ago. And then Brian Harple and Dan Flood left. Brian started his own team. They started providing security for Charlie, and then Dan Flood is actually on TPUSA's website. He works directly for TPUSA.
Okay, I didn't know. I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yeah, Dan
Okay.
Flood was Charlie's personal security. So he went places with Charlie. Personally, he was with him more than Brian Harple. All right.
Okay.
What was my point in all that? What were we saying? What was this in relation to? That Brian Harple and Dan Flood, for their own reasons, for their own company's security, because their job is to keep someone alive, they were going to have to do some reports. Their job, they lost someone while they were performing security. So they probably would have had to take photos as well.
And and that's a very good point about the insurance policy too. Which I don't know the terms of it, right? But there, some of the fuckery that we're suspecting here certainly might be geared towards making sure to cash that thing in as well, right? Because these people, they want it all and more, right? So they want the money, they want to get away, all of it. So
yeah. And so it's possible these photos aren't just crime scene photos. Because my next line of question was, well, if that's like initially I was like, who else would be taking photos? Just the cops. Well, then why would the cops be giving the photos to Candace? How did Candace get these photos? So then the next question is, okay, then who took these photos? Because remember, the car gets freaking auctioned off and is gone. So these are taken within the first day or so. It's a rental. It was a rental. So that's probably same day. And so I guess I started then thinking, well, Brian Harple's team, Dan Flood's team, and TPUSA all had a reason to document this. They would have had to take pictures for their own personal.
Well, that's right. No, for in case there was a claim made on their insurance.
Yes.
Maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. For whatever, but yeah, definitely Brian Harple and Dan Flood. They didn't do their job that day. Their number one person they were supposed to protect. And then TPUSA had their own life insurance policy on him. And then Erica shows up that day. She's got a life insurance policy on him, on Charlie as well. So all of them, once they found out he was dead, somebody that's, thinking clearly is like, we're going to have to take pictures because we have all of these things that we're going to have to do, in my opinion. And so,
let me say this real quick on the Charlie's insurance policy. That was very regular. Normally those types of policy arrangements that they did, because it was kind of like they made an LLC that like loaned the money, but normally I did some reading up on that. Normally that's done to attract people to a nonprofit or a company. It's like extra compensation. Charlie wasn't the kind of candidate for them to be doing all that.
Right.
I would just be anxious to know if he even knew about it.
I don't think he did.
Yeah.
You're talking about the work one that was set up through TPUSA.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's even why, members with the TPUSA life insurance policy, it went into default because they didn't pay like a small fee. And it got hung up somewhere because of that, right?
Yeah, but I think they cured the default. I think they cashed in that some bitch.
No, they did. They did.
It did. They didn't renew the LLC. They didn't renew the LLC registration 1 year, which is just filing of a simple report. I think that was really just probably they didn't have the best attorneys. I can just say that they did not have the best nonprofit attorneys in the world. But how that happened, I don't know. But they sure as hell went and cured it, right?
Yeah.
Cash in on it.
But I wonder if, there's a reason why they let it.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, maybe there was a time where they're like, well, we're not going to get rid of Charlie, let it lapse. Or I don't know, man. That's definitely worth some investigation. If there were an appropriate investigation in this instance, like that would obviously be something that would be heavily looked into, right?
I think Wolves actually did this. Like, I think he speculated on one of his episodes early on why they let it lapse. And I think he came to some sort of conclusion that there was a strategic reason why they did what they did, and then they cured it. So I'll go back and watch that one.
Okay.
But I do remember Wolves touching on this, and definitely he said what you said. It is unusual for a company to, especially, it should have been done on the front end, right? But we know
to attract Charlie.
Right,
That would
exactly.
be to get Charlie. Like if a nonprofit had a high profile target for a CEO that they, because that's one thing too to realize why Erica being the CEO is just a complete farce. Like in the nonprofit world, it's a very niche set of skills, and it's really the network that you're bringing people in for. They know the donors, these things like that. And they would do a arrangement like that to sweeten up the compensation because, working for a nonprofit, technically you're capped on your salary. It can only be reasonable market value, right? And so in order to sweeten up the deal beyond, so that way they don't violate the nonprofit rules,
they got to add other things.
Add stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, when you're talking about whether or not Erica met any kind of requirement as far as like the networking and the ability to bring in donors like Charlie did, I mean, she had her own ability to do that though, right? Because in 2018, all this money came in with her.
Well, because she's pro Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You know what
and
I mean?
so
Like,
I think that's why the board said yes, come on in,
because that's who they wanted. But yeah, a lot of people, but they treated it like it's like she inherited it or something. It's like a nonprofit. Like the board has a duty. And I mean, I would still want to see the board minutes because it's not like they can just show up to a board meeting and say, hey, we're going to appoint Erica. Like there needs to be debate. There needs to be things entered into the minute meeting, like the meeting minutes, like showing like, hey, here's her credentials. Here's why so-and-so thinks she's good. Like I get the feeling that wasn't done. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, it's going to be Erica. It would just be interesting to know that.
I mean, if we're following it, if anything went down the way we think it went down, so what I think actually and I think, we got to get through some supers. I was way behind on the chat. I forgot I bumped it and didn't. We're going to read them in a second. Well, I think the board and everyone involved actually, they decided before Charlie was dead that this was going to be who took over.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. And so like really it's window dressing. Like they could type up any BS in the minutes. It didn't even have to actually take place.
Yeah.
And I agree that there was no real debate, no pushback. No one was like, why would she get it? Like, what are her qualifications? Show me why I should vote in her favor. Yeah, I don't think that happened at all.
Dude, literally, like, you've seen it, like her and Charlie would go talk about her being a housewife, encourage other 100%. Women to be a housewife.
Yeah.
So why would that, that's just irregular, right? Like, yeah.
And then wouldn't it make sense that if Charlie was assassinated and then they just had to pay out on this policy, right? Because it was through the company, and they're getting all these threats. Erica's getting threats and the kids are getting threats, putting the wife in. Wouldn't that be just a huge liability to the organization?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, out of other potential targets. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a whole list.
Yeah. Normally it would have been, like second in command, like actually second in command, like the magnificent Mikey McCoy, chief of staff or something. Or Andrew, like that would have seemed to be more regular than Erica to me.
Yeah, I agree.
And I still don't think his ass is qualified by any stretch of the imagination either. But
no, I agree. None of them are. So, okay, we're going to go over this Jim Bear in a second. Let me read the other supers real quick and see if there's any straight up questions. We did that one, the paid off one. We did that one. Okay, Heidi, thank you for the super sticker. And I can't tell if these are on your side or my side.
I can't tell either, man. It's all good though, dude. It's all love, man.
The chat. So when I say thank you, I'm saying thank you for Greg and for Blackline.
Me too, man.
There's no way to know.
We're all on a common mission here.
Yes, 100%. Brett Booth. I can't wait till they explain how the bomb dogs missed a freshly fired gun.
Yeah.
Touch on that, Greg.
Yeah. So just to kind of put it in context, Barron going back through the 911 traffic realized that the state, like the local cops, had called the bomb dogs. Uh-oh. Did I get kicked off? Uh-oh. Did I get... No.
I put you on the main screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So anyways, Anyway, so Barron went back over the 911 traffic and figured out that the local cops at around 40 minutes after the incident happened called in the bomb dogs, which can smell nitrates, gunpowder and stuff, right? So they should have been able to smell one of two things. In my opinion, they should have been able to locate the rooftop, meaning that if the rifle was shot on the rooftop, there should have been residue on the ground in the area that they should have been able to detect. Or, and I think the more poignant part is that they should have been able to have located that rifle. And so the implication there that they came and didn't find it, it didn't appear till the feds came later that evening, is that that rifle that was found either wasn't the rifle that was, either it was planted or that rifle had not been shot within the 24, 48 hours prior. Because I guess the residue could have dissipated in that amount of time. But yeah, it's a real problem for them. It really is. Well,
the fact that so there was, I think, 4 sweeps, right? So the cops did initial sweeps, right? The human cops. Then they had the bomb dogs do a sweep. Then the FBI came and did a sweep. Then the FBI came to those 2 rookie cops and said, hey, why don't you guys do a sweep? And they found it on the 4th sweep.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, dude. And just magically, it was when the FBI, I'm assuming that what happened is Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, probably told everybody in the office, y'all don't move a muscle till we get there.
100%.
And then showed up at the office. Then they all showed up together at one time around 7, 8 o'clock that evening when the rifle was magically found.
And I mean, look, it is how it is perceived on a lot of shows and in movies. When someone shows up with an FBI jacket, because I was in the military, when military police show up, when NCIS shows up, when high-ranking people with the shiny things on their collars and on their hats show up, things are different. People snap up. People are like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like it is this figure of authority and prestige.
It is.
And when they show up and these 2 rookie cops that between the 2 of them had less than a year, FBI comes over and goes, we looked, but you know what? You guys just go do one more sweep. And then they find it. And then FBI goes, great job. You guys are amazing. Are you telling me these 2 rookie cops aren't going to be like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Like, oh, absolutely. Like, I really do believe that the reason why this went down in Orem, Utah, was because they had control of the law enforcement apparatus from the highest levels there.
Everything from the top all the way down. 100%. 100%.
Yeah. And like you say, the smallest minions down there, they don't need to be let in on it. They're just going to do what they're told, essentially, right? Like they're not going to question too much, especially with the FBI involved. And so, but they definitely had enough levels in their corner to be able to pull this off seemingly okay, I guess you say.
Yeah. And Sonia, I'll read that in a second. I'm just going to state this. They didn't need to have everyone, right? They just needed the right people that are in the positions of authority. They just needed a few key people in each part of the government, in each, police department or institution that they had on their team that either was, threatened or bribed or whatever. They just needed these. And that, remember, we wanted to talk about the Google search trends, right? That a lot of these people were Googled in DC and in Philly months before. These key people that are playing pivotal roles in this whole thing.
And I'll tell you this, the one I found, which has been scrubbed now, I told you I looked, and it was Utah County DA. Okay. And the way I'm seeing, and that was actually searched way back in February or March.
Oh, wow.
Of that. Yeah. So the way I kind of see it is they really went to because if you're going to be in that jurisdiction, the DA is the top law enforcement official, basically. Right. You know what I mean? So you would want them firmly in place before you contacted anyone else within that jurisdiction in operation like this. So it makes sense on a timeline when I found that to say, okay. And now it does mean that I think that they were planning this even a little bit earlier than many people believed. But it might have been an option on the table kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure that there were inklings of this shift in opinion going on from Charlie, even though he hadn't publicly gone that way, but that this Iran war is very important.
Yeah.
And I think they were ready to make any plans necessary to make that happen. If that's what they needed to do, they were going to have it ready to go.
Look, when Charlie stood in the way and he spoke with Trump back when BB wanted to initially start this war, when we ended up just bombing Fardeau. That's when I think, and that was when did that happen? Oh no, that would have been in June. So I mean that was in 2025. But I mean, I think that's when they like really, even though this I think was on the table since Charlie, here, let me back up a second. Charlie texted, he reached out to a friend who ran a security company in December 2024. He said, per this guy's statement, he said that he's worried for his life and he can't trust the security team that he has and that he wanted a different security team. That was in December 2024. And if the first Google search trend started in February or March of 25, I mean, it would make sense that, and now taking into consideration what Tucker said, if they were looking at Charlie's private text messages, any WhatsApp or private messaging, so anything on his phone, emails, communications, voicemails, whatever he was doing publicly, we're even seeing from Candace and other people, they're releasing more that he was doing way more privately.
That's right. Even with Tucker, I think him and Tucker had been talking about this for a very long time.
Yes. And so it makes sense that they would have at least started planning for potential contingencies early on.
And again, with the DA being the first one, like, doesn't that make sense? Like, you get the top DAs on it. They're like, okay, we're good. We're in on this. We're going to help you. And they might have even referred them to the surgeons, go to this hospital. You know, that would have probably been the waste center for everything else.
Correct. And we know that like the surgeon was Googled and like, I don't know. Have you done any research into this theory that Terrell Farnsworth is related to someone on the defense team?
You know, look,
I've not been able to find any familial relation.
So I haven't been able to either. Now, I think it came from Project Constitution was the first one to make that allegation. I need to reach out to him in all fairness and just say, hey, do you have anything substantial to back that up? And I will do it.
The answer is going to be no.
Okay.
I mean, I was watching your live stream yesterday with Andrew and Matt from Matt and Friends, and Project Constitution has gone off the reservation. So.
Well, the Candace thing he just did, which he did issue an apology for, but, you know, I think it just shows their propensity to jump so far ahead before verifying things that, you know, again, I appreciate they made the apology and stuff, but yeah, I think that might have been a little premature on the Erica thing. But
he's the one that he released that photo of Erica like kissing her niece, and Project said this is proof that Erica was kissing a underage little girl. You never saw that from his feed on X. That was a couple months ago when the text messages came out of her texting an underage, you know, that 15-year-old on Facebook. Project came out and released a photo of Erica like just kissing her niece on the head or the cheek, and he said that this was her doing something.
Okay. So that I think even you might have told me that they had kind of gone south a little bit, but I wasn't aware of exactly what had gone on.
That was the beginning of, I think there was other content creators that had forged relationships with them that said there were other things that started to already. I think also saying that that there was proof in the Einstein files of financial ties to TPUSA. And I don't think that, from my understanding, like Ian Carroll's the deepest in the files. He hasn't said that there's any direct link at all. And then this whole video recording came out. I mean, I didn't debunk it, but I knew right away, just personally, from listening to hundreds of hours of Erica and listening to that, like right away, just everything about how that person spoke on that recording, it was similar, but not the same. And then that recording of that other girl, that sounded pretty similar to
no, absolutely. That makes sense to me. And to be honest, when I first came across that post, because it came across my notifications from Project Constitution, I wasn't totally sold the first time I listened to it. So when I heard Candace say what she said, that made sense to me.
Yeah.
And then you backed it up too. You know.
I think I've gotten a lot of emails about it. A lot of, followers and subscribers and viewers, have, and that just shows that like people that even, have a big or small channel, you got to be careful with what you say. Cause so many
You really do.
the public takes you at your word and then they run with it. And then, so many, and I appreciate it. Don't stop emailing me with tips and things like that. But a lot of people believed it. That was her.
Yeah.
All right. Sonia, I understood Harpole as saying he cut the shirt before the hospital. So CK was ready for them, which I took as an excuse for their cleanup. I mean, we could pull that back up, but I was pretty sure he said he cut it on the table. Like they carried him in, they set him on the gurney and he cut it in preparation. And then he started barking orders, get the defibrillator, get the medication. But I'd have to pull that up. I don't have it timestamped. I don't want to drag us all through that whole thing to try to find where he said that.
Real quick, what medication would he need right then? Like what medication are you going to give somebody who's potentially on their deathbed? Like, I mean, I don't like.
I mean, there's a lot. I think when
there's some meth or something, wake up.
I mean, I don't know. Is it like epinephrine or? I mean,
maybe
There's definitely medication you give to someone that's failing. That's on their way out, but that hasn't completely died. That can help boost their chances. I don't know what those are, but I know that there is medication that they give to people, whether it's a cardiac arrest or whatever it is, loss of blood. More than anything, they would need to have, stopped the blood and given them a blood transfusion.
Yeah. I can find out. My main doctor is an anesthesiologist. I'm going to ask him tomorrow.
Anesthesiologists are the best, dude. They're always, they make the most money, but they're also the best. I've had a lot of surgery. So
he's been the lead anesthesiologist at Baylor Medical Center in Dallas in the ICU for like 30 years. He's crazy. If we go to that event in Dallas, dude, I'll introduce you to him. I would love to introduce you to him. He's a cool dude, man.
We should. However, I then just started talking about it because me and my wife were talking about planning trips and things like that.
Yeah.
With everything that's going on right now, flying sounds pretty sketchy.
Well, no, that's right. Hey, I can't argue with you about that. No, you're right.
And how bad would it be as a husband and a father if we're in a different state and something happens nationally and everything gets shut down, and not that anyone gets hurt, but like flights are canceled, roads are canceled, everyone gets locked down, and we're stuck on martial law in a different state from our family.
Well, and also too, I mean, they're already having backups at airports and stuff like that, so it's already becoming irregular with air travel. So no, you're right. I'll definitely consider that. Hell, I might drive it if I decide to go. We'll see.
Yeah,
maybe you'll lighten up. I don't know.
We'll talk for sure. Continued off screen, because I do want to go. And it is first come, first serve. You don't buy tickets. Okay. So like if we go early, and then definitely though with things that like Ian and others like Danks have reported with the whole phone thing, we might want to get like a Faraday bag.
What I was thinking is maybe we could go in halves on a burner phone. And just show up with it and like screen record it the entire time.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. That's a smart idea, because then we can just leave our actual phones at a hotel.
That's right.
Because the moment we have the phone in the Faraday and then you take it out to use it, well, now you're screwed. No point in bringing it at all.
Yeah, and you'll want something to film with that's not so obvious.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I mean, we could also find some sort of small like little camera,
they got really small cameras these days, Bluetooth cameras that you can get for
we can hide on different things.
Absolutely.
So Sonia, I'll look into that and see if he said he cut it off in the car. I don't think he said he did though. I'm pretty sure they said that he carried him in, threw him on the table, and then cut it off, and then started telling the nurses to get the defibrillator and get the medicine. But we can touch on that.
To be honest, y'all, when I saw that Sean Ryan bit, I found Brian Harpole to be so incredible. Like within the first 5 to 10 minutes, I don't really register much of what he said, because I just didn't believe hardly any of it. It just sounded
extra.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly what extra.
Yeah. Like everything was extra. And what you see is, look, I'm not a body language expert. I definitely do, work in behavioral analysis, and I
Mhm.
mean, just what's known publicly as well. He is very uncomfortable in that
Yeah.
he is doing a lot of things with his hands. He does this thing where he covers his mouth and goes a couple
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
He is visibly, this is a very uncomfortable situation for him. He's knowingly being deceptive at times.
Mhm.
It's a very, and then you see the only two times that Sean really pushes back on a question. One was about the heart rate, or the pulse. Did they check for a pulse? He fumbles up. That's when he like coughs and like clears his throat. And then he goes, in a situation like that, you don't do that. And he gives some BS response. Sean isn't buying it. And then Brian Harple appeals to a higher authority and then says, but the doctor said that you wouldn't even have found one, or it wouldn't even have mattered. And then Sean goes, oh, okay, the doctor. Well, he's the expert in medical stuff. So, I mean, you must be telling me.
Yeah. I love Sean Ryan to death, but yeah, he did not push back very much on that interview. What else was I going to say on that? Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, there's a guy on YouTube that is a real deal body language forensic expert who's like works with the government even. But he did a breakdown of the video, which seemed very credible to me. And yeah, he definitely said, while there was some times when he's telling the truth, like there are a lot of times where he's showing he's being evasive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Great show, y'all. No 2 cents to add, just appreciation. Keep the conversation going.
Thank you, Niche. Thank you, Niche.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Next we have, okay, Sonia. Also, thinking of the open car door and why. Matt, when you asked about a spent bullet, maybe one of them hopped out to shoot a bullet. Maybe. Hold on. Let me see your next one and see if it finishes it. Maybe whenever they were getting back in the SUV is when they had trouble closing the door. If a cop was coming up to them, they may have had to go.
Oh, yeah, because a cop was. So if you listen to the 911 traffic, there's
pick up a tail. Yes.
There's one or two cops that spot the vehicle
Correct.
on the road. And I'll say this, man. It's weird to me because none of the cops are like, oh, we're going to pull it over. There's someone hanging out of a goddamn car going down the highway. They don't say they're going to pull it over, but I think what she's saying is that they pulled over real quick, hit the shot, and then we're getting back in whenever they saw the cop or the cop was coming up on them. I don't know. But I think that's what she's getting at.
I mean, yeah, I can follow that's a possibility. Why would they have need to stop to do the shot?
Well, maybe so that way the shell wouldn't go inside of the car, and maybe to get some distance to make sure it stops inside of him. Just, I don't know that, but just theorizing.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think anything is possible as long as it's logical and fits that. I think these people would have done just about anything at that point to try to make sure that, because if it didn't go to plan, if the plan was center mass injury and then the neck was an accident, so they were in panic after that because they're thinking in their head, okay, the narrative, the person, the patsy, the gun, everything was built to follow the plan that they had, the story that they had practiced. This didn't go to plan. And so I'm pretty sure they're in a panic. People don't make good decisions under panic.
Well, not in that situation either, dude. I mean, could you imagine how?
And I think that's why we see a lot of mistakes, is because they're making impromptu, impulsive decisions on the fly that in the moment they think are going to be good and work, and like, oh, we can just do this and it'll fit. This will solve it and it'll cover up the issue. But then later down the line, after, your adrenaline and everything calms down and you're using your whole brain again, you're like, oh, that probably wasn't the smartest idea. But at that point, it's already too late. I mean, I do. Why do you think Brian is like get the autopsy. There's an autopsy. The autopsy is going to prove everything.
I mean, I think he's like that because he's involved in some way, shape, or form. He's involved. Obviously we can, and we obviously should speculate to what degree, but he's definitely involved, and just trying to play cover. And I think it's two things too, is that he also doesn't want to be. He's so egoic. He doesn't want to be seen as incompetent either. He wants to get away with it, and he doesn't want to be seen as incompetent.
Well, right, because that is, I think that could even be the whole thing. It could be more, but I think that by itself, his whole career, his whole profession. So he just started this security company in 2024, 2025. It's brand new. All right. That means one of his biggest clients, the main client that his security company was protecting, lost. They lost it. His company failed. Can you imagine? You can't put that on your company's resume. You can't be like, look, I can protect you, CEO of Apple or Amazon. We do great work.
Yeah.
But if he claims, but no, the autopsy then he can say it wasn't incompetence. It wasn't that I and my company failed in any way. Yeah.
Most of the time he's deflecting responsibility is in
Correct.
the preparation, right? That was when he did the big he put it all on the campus security, right?
Yeah.
So I see that. He wanted to make sure about that.
Yes. Yeah. What a not good individual. Renita, Matt, I sent you a bunch of emails with discrete recording device suggestions. Okay, great. Yeah, I'll make sure to me and Greg, I'll read those.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I hope we get, obviously we're going to make sure Matt's family's safe and my family's safe. But, if we get to go, we're going to do it up. I
literally want to go. And as long as we can find a way to make sure that even in the worst case scenario, we can both make it home, then it's going to happen, because can you imagine getting to be there in person and certain people that we can see and talk to and ask questions or things we might see? Imagine all the people at UVU that day that didn't think they were recording anything unique or special, but caught all that background stuff just by having their phone up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How much we could just not even know that we're capturing a conversation way back there, but the phone picks it up and internet sleuths zoom into it. And they're like, look at who's talking over there. Yeah.
I'm just anxious to hear the grift, and they're going to be in my home state, Texas. I need to go policing down there and make sure they're not grifting my people for their money, man.
Well, they're definitely going to do it. And the pastor, do you know Prestonwood Church?
No, not off the top of my head. I've heard of it. I've definitely heard of it. I've never been there, but I would imagine it's probably the biggest Baptist church in the city. I would imagine.
It definitely is it's a mega church for sure. Let's see. And then let me hit AI mode and see the name of the pastor. Oh my gosh, AI taking forever. Headquarters. Yeah, it's in Plano, Texas. Senior pastor Jack Graham. This guy has weird stuff in his background as well, just like Greg Laurie, just like all the other individuals and pastors that she's partnered with on this Make Heaven Crowded event tour. Here's another one in there for sure. Dallas is huge in this whole Charlie Kirk assassination. You know that, right? All of them live there. They're all from there. Texas, sadly, has at least the people that are surrounding Charlie and played parts, even peripheral parts in this, are either from Arizona or Texas. Those are the two big states that seem to make up a lot of the people involved in this. Someone got a new member, Greg Vol.
What up, Greg? Nice to have you, man. I'm not sure which channel, but hey.
Welcome to both, whichever one.
Yeah, welcome to the crew, man.
Let's see. Okay, what were your thoughts on the Wolves and Finance episode today?
Oh, to be honest, when I first turned it on, I thought like a lot of his other videos. At first, I was like, "Where's he going with this?
Yeah,
where's he going?" But man, it was. I'm not going to say it's eye-opening because friends with Matt, the other Matt, had that Tucciaroni guy on his podcast who worked for TPUSA, and he gave a rundown of those people pretty much a week or so before. And so, not saying it wasn't surprising, but just the depravity in the fact that these people are, in the way I see it, I agree with them. They're supporting human trafficking of children.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
it's just like, ugh.
I mean, I think he needed, Zach had to do a new episode where he actually recovered his image a bit. Because that one he did, just personally, I think it made it look like he was a plant that came into this and did amazing work and then went a bad direction with the whole palm
with the palm gun and the I thought that too.
That was a real not good episode. It didn't really.
I support people obviously having their own theory, what they believe, but I really feel as content creators, we should probably try to avoid lunging too far into any single theory, just because I think if we send people down too narrow of a path, that it's going to allow them to potentially get away with it, right? Because we're going.
What do you think about the whole Charlie Kirk is alive theory?
To be honest with you, and I tell people, and I'm honest, I haven't 100%. I lean more towards that he's not with us, but I have not completely written off that he might still be with us. Why do I say that? Because I also see potentially in the video there being a prosthesis there potentially. And I've also seen a lot about the Philadelphia intelligence agency. They're really good at faking stuff, disguises, false flags. But to be quite honest with you, when I really take a meta perspective and look at the larger circumstances, and especially what we know now, it tends to make me think he's not with us.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't shoot people down who think he might still be with. And I think a lot of people, man, because Charlie was really loved, and people don't want to believe that someone like that, gets done like that's gone. So I get it. I don't combat them. And I definitely would not be completely just totally off my rocker surprised if that happened. But my feeling is that he's not. That's my personal feeling.
Yeah, agreed. All right. I didn't. Yeah, that one. Charlie had a tick, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
That on his left side.
Yeah. Because they've shown other videos of it.
And the pictures that day so when you say prosthetic, are you talking about?
Not that, just in the way that it came, like the way that it came. It was
the
kind of
wound.
weird.
The
wound. How it kind of appered after this, and the puff
after the shirt.
Yeah. So again, I could interpret that two ways, in a sense, right? But again, some of the others, a lot of the other things really gravitate me towards him not being here. But again, I don't fight people on that, and I've noticed that a lot of people, and God bless everybody, some people get really touchy about that issue. And I get it. And I get it,
I'm very touchy about it. Cause I mean, personally, I think that, to claim that Charlie Kirk would allow, cause when you think about it, so that means he would allow, either his parents would have to be in on it, right? They'd have to be told that he's not really dead. Right.
Yeah. I mean, you would hope so. I mean, you would hope. I mean, God,
right.
What if that? I mean,
or that Charlie would let them think he was dead.
That I just don't see him being that way. Right. I see him. Like I say, I didn't just agree with a ton of what Charlie was saying. I agree with what he was doing as far as going to campus to talk. So I support, but I support him in this. I feel that he was a man that stood on his morals and principles. And to his demise, I do believe. So I'm very passionate about the law of practice. I'm passionate about the YouTube thing. And so I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. They weren't going to divorce him from the young people that he sought to represent. They weren't going to do it.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that. And I respect the shit out of him for that.
Yeah. Let's see. Did you have anything left on your to-do list that you wanted to discuss? Oh, the next hearing that's coming up, not the one, not the very next one. Well, okay. What's the next one first? And we'll get that out of the way. And then we'll do the really good one that's coming in April.
Yeah. So the next one's April 17th. in that hearing, you expect to see both the prosecution and the defense are going to be putting media experts on the stand to talk about the coverage on both ends of this. Judge is then going to make a decision on whether he's going to limit media exposure to any of the further proceedings. Based upon that, I certainly don't suspect that he will. I think that the way that they did the camera at this last hearing really cured most of the defects that I saw with the media being in the courtroom.
Yeah, like that they can only have the camera facing.
Yes. Yeah, I think that cures all the defects. And and then they're also going to be discussing at the end of that, because they have the whole day blocked off, they're going to be discussing the preliminary hearing, which is tentatively set for sometime in May. But like I said, this issue with the prosecution not handing over all the underlying evidence might have to push that date back, but they don't know that quite yet. They're going to discuss that on the back end of the 17th. So we'll know then whether May's going to hold up or whether they're going to have to
push it to June or something, because the defense needs ample time to test whatever they want to test.
And God bless, I want them to have that time. I want them to have that time to, I would assume they've probably, if they have the state's reports or the Fed's reports, they've probably already identified their experts and got the funding for them and all that.
Yeah.
I would imagine they're literally just waiting to hand over the items to them.
Yeah. Yeah. So we went off on a tangent when we were talking about Project Constitution for a second. The whole reason why we started talking about him was whether or not there actually is a relationship between anyone on the defense team and Terrell Farnsworth.
Yeah, I haven't found anything other than those allegations, really.
And there's definitely not with Catherine Nestor. I looked into that. It's not her. But then someone told me that's not who they thought it was. They thought it was one of the male attorneys.
think it was Bart, actually, was the one that they were thinking had the connection.
Like a cousin or a cousin's spouse or something.
And granted, I'm not really up to date with doing that research. I know if I had a LexisNexis account, I could definitely do it.
What is that?
The LexisNexis has this thing called People Search. Okay, let me tell you something. Now, you can only get access to it if you're like an official PI or a lawyer. But dude, you can look somebody up and print out a report about them. I could print out your report, Matt, and I could tell you how your mom and dad voted in every election their entire life. That's how detailed of information that you get.
Wait, Lexus, like the car company?
LexisNexis. No, LexisNexis is like a research company like Westlaw or Reuters. It's a service like that, but lawyers use it to do legal research and asset research and people research.
So it's like a database?
Oh, is it a database, dude? It is. I mean, you look up a person, you're going to print up 75 pages, dude. Like, you're going to know everything about that person.
You think Barron has, so do you have to pay for this?
Yeah. And I guarantee you Barron's got it.
Do you have to be a lawyer?
I want to say for the People Search, for sure you do. But I mean, let me look into it, dude. I might, if we think it's prudent, we could, because I think you can pay more. I think you can pay by the search. Let me look into it.
I didn't, because that makes so much more sense. I already knew that Barron had obviously qualifications, experience, education that lends him to do the kind of shows and the investigation that he does. Same as you, right?
Oh, he's definitely using LexisNexis Westlaw. He's using some kind of service like that.
That's what I was thinking. Like, how does he? Well, and I know he's got Daisy, who I think she might even be a lawyer. She could use it. I mean, if he has the account, she can use it. Yeah, right. But she obviously already was a good investigator. He said that multiple times that like she could find dirt on anyone.
Yeah.
And so, but it would make sense. See, I didn't even know something like this exists.
To be honest with you, Matt, the last time I used LexisNexis People Search was before all this AI stuff. It was like 2013, 14. I could just imagine now with the AI what those reports are showing.
It's just touch and go now. Just like boom, put it in. It's just like gives you back everything.
I mean, even the legal research now, it's like you know when you're doing legal research, it's like, dude, it's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an amazing tool that would be.
I mean, if you're a lawyer, dude, like if you want to track someone down, if you want to cross-examine them, like, dude, that People Search, you got it. You got your whole cross-examination right there. You know what I mean?
And does LexisNexis have a version for just the average person that we're allowed to?
I'll look it up. I'll tell you what.
Okay. All right.
If you remember, send me an email or a text
will.
read, and
Yeah, I
tomorrow
will.
morning when I get up, I'll look it up and let you know, because I'm interested now, because I do want to look into Terrell Farnsworth to see if he's related to any of these people.
So
Because it'll tell you that.
I agree.
It'll tell you that.
Renita
It'll tell you if he's related to them, and if he is, it'll tell you who they are, their addresses, how they voted, who finances their car. Like, dude, it tells you everything. Dude.
Holy smokes!
Holy smokes!
She said LexisNexis is great. How much is the search? Crowdfund? Question mark. Yeah,
I'll look it up. I'll look it up and report back, man. It's been a while since I've really jumped on there to do that kind of search. I've done some legal research there maybe a long time ago, but I'll look it up and let y'all know.
And from one content creator to another, have you heard of archive.org, Greg?
I've heard it, but I've never been on it.
All right. So when you it ends up taking you to like the Wayback Machine, and I think it's through the Wayback Machine. But if you type in like archive.org Charlie Kirk, there is it'll take you to like the Charlie Kirk parent page of the archive.org. You click on it and it's just all the footage and cameras and photos and videos from that day. Wow. Okay. Yeah, a lot of which we can't even show on YouTube. But I mean, it's a good place to just do your own research looking in on that day, because I've been waiting on someone to send me what they've had and it hasn't happened. And so I'm like tired of just waiting for it. So
I'll look into the LexisNexis and report back to y'all, because if it's something that we want to crowdfund for some searches, I'm a lawyer. I can get an account. I can do the search,
Yes. Yes. I'm telling you, so many of my community, and I guarantee yours, would love that, for us to do our own research together and like report on it. And, especially in the future, this is not the only thing that I always had this feeling. Okay. Imagine the people like Barron that had a YouTube channel before Charlie Kirk assassination. He wasn't doing anything on Charlie Kirk before it happened, but he had the platform that when it happened, he was able to then use it. Right. And
he really came on board with those Google trend searches, right? Which we can all do that, but like no one in their right mind, as far as I'm concerned, I definitely wouldn't have thought about that, man. He deserved where he got, because that was clever.
Well, he knew, because he used to work for store chains. Like, he was doing consultant work for like Publix and grocery stores. And he said it on one of them that he would help them determine what products sell the best by telling them what were people in the surrounding communities to their store, what were they searching the most, what were the products they were wanting. And then he would tell these store chains, that's what people are searching for. And you can see when they're searching for it, what they're searching for, and how many. And then he used that knowledge and experience about that into the Charlie Kirk assassination. But my point in saying that was this, is that there's going to be future things that you and I do not foresee happening. But the fact that we have our platforms and our channels, when these things happen, we will be in the position to be able to report on them and to talk about them with each other and with our communities.
Yes.
Because we can't, the day of trusting public, mainstream news and the government, it's over. It's over. There's no trusting our government and our local news and our mainstream news anymore on anything. They've completely lost credibility. But yeah. So I do think doing things like LexisNexis. Did you ever see the Barron episode where he used this? It's called Near Map. Do you watch Barron?
Yeah. I remember him using that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I tried to find a way to buy it. You can't just like buy a membership. You have to like fill out this thing, which I did, and then they like call you back. And they never got back to me. Near Map is for intel organizations and companies and for like the government. And it has access to like spy satellites and spy planes that go around and are taking up-to-date pictures of every part of the United States and maybe other countries, but for sure for the United States. Can you imagine how we could use that on looking at certain places in the weeks and months leading up to the assassination, the day of and after? I mean, that's another one I really wanted to do, was get a membership to Nearmap, and I still have yet to been told how to go about getting that. You know what I mean?
Okay. So I'm looking. Yeah, dude. They've definitely ramped up the people public record search.
On Nexus?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Let me see.
That's cool.
Let's see what this says cost.
Thank you,
Starting at, okay, hold on. This is just off the rip. $342 per month.
Whoa.
Hold on. Public record search are highly variable, often starting around $1,995 per user per month for dedicated public record software via transactional pay-as-you-go or subscription models. Individual public record searches can range from $0 to $163, while specific reports, e.g., company profiles, can cost $150 to $250.
Wow.
I'll look into it. If I can get an account set up, dude, I will, because I think we could definitely crowdsource.
Yeah.
$100, $150 to do a
yeah.
search,
Agreed.
Okay.
I mean, this is definitely that's definitely a tool to use for Charlie Kirk assassination investigation, but also everything else that's gonna happen. You know, all the other psyops they're gonna run on.
You could definitely even dig further into the Epstein files, having something like that to see associations that aren't apparent in the files, but you might be able to somewhat associate them. You might be able to verify it through something like that.
And I really think all that's come out that I think at this point could even be said is that it's possible Erica Kirk worked at, or no, we know she worked at the Cochrane group, right? But that if there's any kind of connection to her and Einstein, that it's maybe she managed a couple of the apartments or condos that he maybe had girls at. I think that's the most we could say at this point.
And look, based upon what I know about Einstein's operations, you know, I've done some pretty big that's really on par with how they were operating. So that's very plausible. And logical.
But I don't think that she procured anyone.
I don't know if like directly, but I think that she was probably overseeing some models that he would have had access to.
I think that's a good I think you could say that.
I don't think he hired her directly. I mean, just to say, maybe so, but I don't know if he like hired her, like, oh yeah, Erica, go do this for me. Like, they were in the same circles. He probably had access to girls through her some way that she might not have even been aware of.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think she definitely knows what's going on with all this, man.
For sure.
She definitely knows what the deal is.
All right. Was there anything else you had on your list you wanted to cover we didn't cover?
Some sleep? No.
Yes. Agreed.
I'm grateful, man. I enjoy every time I'm on here. Thank you to all your people, dude, for showing up and supporting. And let's I'll follow up with you about this LexisNexis stuff, and let's see about getting another stream going here soon, man.
100%.
I love it.
Thank you guys. Thank you everyone on the Black Line Brief side and everyone at the Entheogenic Esquire side. God bless you guys. Get a good night's sleep. We'll see you guys next time.